Can you repeat
whatever.
the question?
Can
you repeat the question?
Well, it's not actually a question. It's more like a trigger, no? It's contact, improvisation, and memory, and you can say whatever. It's
when people start dancing contact improvisation, often they say in the class, "Oh, it's so nice for them, and it's also important to switch off the mind. Switch off the mind and just dance contact."
Yeah.
And then my answer, if I reply to this, then normally I say it's not about switching off the mind, but changing the mind. So, because when I started with improvisation and with contact, I also switched off the mind.
Yeah.
And I had no memory from my dance. So I was so much in the moment, but with mind switched off. And it took me some time to still be present in the dance and after the dance having a memory for the dance. Because then I could start to reflect and I could start to talk about it and to talk with people what did happen in this situation and that situation. Especially when you work for performance, it's important to keep your mind switched on. But in another mode, not this daily life mode or analytical, critical mode. So, yeah, contact and memory makes some sense.
Makes some sense. Great. Yeah, because usually, you know, we associate memory with a very kind of logical, reasoning.
And for me, it's also a body memory, not only a brain memory. For instance, to go beyond my patterns. It's helpful when my body remembers, wow, I did this movement already 100 times. Maybe I could do it the next time differently.
Do you think that there is an association between memory and awareness in this case? Or it's like if you are aware of how you move, maybe you will remember, your body will remember.
I guess awareness is, you have to have awareness, else you cannot memorize things. Also to have a memory of something, you have to be aware of it. I guess.
Yeah. Well, but this is what lead us to the second question that was more specifically what kind of memories do you think contact improvisation from your point of view or from your approach to the practice works? With kind of memories do you think?
In order to dance contact.
In order to dance, or the practice, which kind of memories activates, or which kind of memory you work with? I don't know.
When I tell people in the class to start improvisation, I often tell them clear memory. Forget everything that you know. Forget everything that you heard in the class. And have trust that the things are popping up in the moment you will need it. Because they don't have to keep in mind all the information they got during the class, else they got stuck and they cannot improvise. When they have everything in mind, I should do this, I should not do that, I tell clear memory. And then, yeah, it pops up. When I told the people 100 times don't grab, they don't have to think about it all the time, but when they find themselves grabbing, just, okay, I have now the choice to do it differently, because I have my memory thing of do not grab. For instance, a very simple example.
Yeah, it's a very simple example, but it shows that it's not that you have to have the rules very present, because otherwise you cannot.
For me, there is a difference between concentration and being focused or being present. Concentration or being concentrated, I relate with something specific, making narrow, no hands, some principles to keep them in mind, to concentrate on them. Having awareness is for me much more open, and to get all the information I need now for my dance. So awareness for me is more opening, concentrating is more like...
It's more like an empty space that can be filled with... No? With
and awareness is with all my body, concentration is more in my mind. There's a little bit the risk that I cut. It's just the mind concentrating on something.
Yeah. Great. Como un profesor. Ah, sí. The last part of it would be you as a teacher, or as a facilitator of contact improvisation. Yeah, in a way you have to remember exercises and classes and things, no? But I don't know if you can tell us something more on how do you use your own memories for teaching.
When I started teaching, I was preparing the class very step by step, really very in details. And then when I started to teach, I had to remember the details, and sometimes I got stuck and I was not so much in the flow of teaching. I was not so much connected with the group because I was thinking about what is the next step. And I was less connected also with the timing. I did not have the sense of how much time is needed. And I wanted to fulfill my plan, so I was sometimes pushing. So let's go on. And in the meantime, I have somehow like a collection of many exercises somewhere in my head and in my body. And when I prepare a class, maybe I make a list of different options. Or when I prepared now this festival, the workshop in this festival, the 3 classes, I just put up some notes. Maybe these were 10 words. What kind of exercise could be helpful? And then yesterday and today it was somebody else was teaching, so my aim was somehow to connect in a way with the teaching before. So it was a mixture of being present in the moment, feel my own body, and having a memory of my options, what could I offer. And sometimes I start to improvise completely and just start to teach something I never taught before. But also this, I guess, I have in mind all the principles, or in my body I have all the principles I'm working with.
It's like something that emerged from your body memory.
Or like that my teaching, that I make the next step in my teaching while teaching, not while preparing the teaching, but I feel like it already happened that I got bored with my material. And then I arrived in the class and felt somehow like, and then I started to improvise. And this was a pretty good class finally, because it was so fresh for myself. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And after every class I took some notes. I take some notes of that I know what I did teach during the workshop. And even if I come back to a city, I know what I did teach the year before, because I have somehow the expectation towards myself that I do not just repeat the same things. Sometimes I see teachers just repeating the same material again and again and again. If they do it consciously, I guess this is okay. If it's just happened by random, then...
It's like repeating your habits, no? Teaching not to repeat your habits by repeating a habit.
And if I know what I did teach last year, then I can refer. We did it already last year. Or somehow I can make connections to what we did. And often participants remember what we did 1 year before. So it also makes for me sense to have this memory for my teaching.
Excellent. Let's add one more question, like, what is your first memory from contact improvisation?
This is a gym hall where I took my first class. This is the picture of a gym hall where I took the first class.
A gym hall?
A gym hall.
Gym hall?
For gymnastics.
A gym, yeah.
A gym hall. Yeah. I have some picture of, it was an exercise standing next to each other, 2 partners. This is my first picture, the earliest picture I have from contact, 21 years ago.
Great. Where was it?
In Bern.
In Bern. Great.
In my home city.
Switzerland.
Switzerland, yeah, Suiza.
Y esto es una curiosidad mía.
Her own curiosity.
Pero tiene que ver.
What it has to do?
Como que cuente un poco su trayectoria con el.
If you want to tell a few words about your trajectory with the contact, when
Desde esa primera
from
recuerdo.
that first contact
Porque ha llegado.
with the practice, just a
How
few
it
words.
developed.
It's not to read your bio because we all have that available.
My first class was in '92,
Yeah.
and what was really taking me in was the thing of having physical contact and the part of improvisation. Because when I registered for this class, I read the text and I did not understand anything. But this word of contact improvisation, this took me. And then I did the class, and it was really the thing that why I stayed with it. And then for many years I just took so many classes and workshops as possible, went to jams, was crazy dancing, going over my limits, having an aching back after every long jam, 7 years long, and then I did a training in new dance in Freiburg, a 15-month training. Part of it was contact improvisation, and then from when I ended this training, I started to teach. So I was dancing contact since 8 years, and then only I started to teach contact. And this was very important for me because I learned so much through teaching. I learned probably more through teaching than through taking workshops.
Yeah.
And this I should not say as a teacher. People don't come to the class anymore.
Everybody's going to become a teacher.
Yeah, I wanted to understand what I'm doing, that I can break it down, because it's my way of teaching to break it down, to explain to people what is happening. So I had to understand my own dancing. Because in the first years I did not understand anything about contact, I just did it. I guess I was kind of naturally talented, and I had good teachers with whom I could dance crazy dances. And when other students after the class said, wow, this was such a nice class, I felt this and this and this, it was so nicely built, the class, I just, oh yeah, I didn't notice. Let's dance, let's move, let's do contact. And then only when I started to teach, also during the training in Freiburg, and then when I started to teach, I started to feel all these many things. Yeah, and then one quite big interruption was when I had
Backaches.
yeah, hernia.
Hernia.
So for 1 month I was really only lying and walking very slowly, no sitting, no standing, no dancing, nothing. And then after 1 month I could start to move again. And then my dance got much softer. People told me, wow, you got much softer in your dancing. I didn't notice so much myself because I was so busy with. But people told me that since then I'm dancing much softer. So this was an important step, this injury.
You use the injury to develop your dance in a way.
Every injury, this was the biggest one. I had smaller ones. Every injury taught me to move differently. Because I could not do my patterns, I had to be more careful. It was for me the reason to study anatomy of the lower back, of the knee, of the shoulder, of the wrist, because I wanted to understand what is not working in my body. So it was for me a reason to explore anatomy and to find out new ways. How can I dance with a knee that I cannot bend more than 90 degrees, for instance? How can I dance without taking weight on my back? So these were part of my exploration.
Great, I think we're done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.